Today's episode is brought to you by Positively Productive Systems, whose mission is to be the antidote to your stress and to provide compassionate productivity resources and coaching that help you heal and achieve. Be sure to check out both free and paid resources at positivelyproductive.com/resources. When you build a new habit, you will more readily and successfully lock it in if you start small and focus on being consistent. It's the consistency that is key here because you reinforce neural pathways in your brain through that repetition. There may be times when you feel like it's not doing too much, or how could that small step even matter? But it does. So you need to track those efforts and celebrate each one, as well as the obvious successes. Once you've established this baseline, you can take your productivity to the next level with an advanced strategy of habit stacking and anchoring. Simply put, you can build a new habit faster and more effectively when you link it to an existing one. You're listening to the Positively Living Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Zaratny, founder of Positively Productive Systems and a productivity coach certified in positive psychology and stress management. Join me as we explore ways to live a more proactive, positive life with episodes on productivity, self-awareness, mindset, entrepreneur life, habits and systems, simplicity, fun, and more. I understand overwhelm personally as a multi-passionate entrepreneur, wife and mom to kids and cats, and as a caregiver. I'm here to help you choose what's right for you so you can do less, live more, and breathe easier. Sound good? Let's get to it. Welcome to the Positively Living Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa, and we're going to keep our habit conversation going today. If you're a beginner with habits or you need a refresher on how they work and why they're so important, I recommend checking out a couple of previous episodes. In the first season of the podcast, you'll find my Foundational Habits episode, number 15. In it, I explain how to harness habits to achieve your goals, how our brains work with habits, and I provide details on two leading authors on habits, Charles Duhigg and James Clear. I also give you an acronym to help you remember the parts of building strong habits. Since then, we've talked about habits in a variety of episodes. You really can't get away from them. But I felt like it was time to bring back the topic and bring it back big. So I'm focusing on it this month. In a very recent episode, number 225, I reviewed a few basics for habits and talked about them from the perspective of getting out of a habit and how to rebuild one, or maybe fix one. Today, we're going to explore advanced strategies like habit stacking and anchoring to help you maximize your productivity and reach your goals that much faster. Let's quickly review the science of habits. They're essentially mental shortcuts for our brains created to conserve energy. Formed through repetition, they allow us to operate on autopilot, basically. This is why it's so hard to break habits, especially the bad ones, or rather the ones that don't serve you as well or help you toward your goals, and why good habits, really the habits that serve you, can be so powerful. Habits free up our mental bandwidth, allowing us to focus on more complex tasks. They also provide us a sense of structure. That consistency, which is the basis for habits, helps us breathe easier and focus better. Willpower only gets you so far. Cultivating a positive habit can help you make progress toward your goals without as much effort. When you build a new habit, you will more readily and successfully lock it in if you start small and focus on being consistent. It's the consistency that is key here because you reinforce neural pathways in your brain through that repetition. There may be times when you feel like it's not doing too much, or how could that small step even matter? But it does. So you need to track those efforts and celebrate each one, as well as the obvious successes. Once you've established this baseline, you can take your productivity to the next level with an advanced strategy of habit stacking and anchoring. Simply put, you can build a new habit faster and more effectively when you link it to an existing one. The term habit stacking was coined by author S.J. Scott in his book Habit Stacking: 97 Small Life Changes That Take 5 Minutes or Less. In technical terms, habit stacking uses the strong synaptic connections we already have. That means the brain connections, those neural pathways that we already created with existing habits. It's familiar, and we can use that strength to help us with the new ones. So these connections in the brain have been extensively studied by many, including behavioral scientist B.J. Fogg. He's the founder and director of the Behavior Design Lab at Stanford University and the best-selling author of Tiny Habits: The Small Changes That Change Everything. As the creator of the Tiny Habits method, Fogg has written extensively about linking behaviors to make lasting change, referring to the current habit or trigger situation as an anchor or anchor moment that helps us cue and hold the new one in place. So habit stacking actually has a formula to it, but don't worry, this math will math, and it's easy math. So it's like when I do blank, I will do blank. So when I do the current habit or see the cue, I will do the new habit. For example, if you want to start flossing, you do it immediately after brushing your teeth. This works because the established habit of brushing your teeth acts as a trigger for the new behavior, flossing. They go right together as a team. By linking those two actions, you create this mental association that makes it easier to remember and to perform the new habit. Another example, if you want to drink more water, put a cup of water right next to your coffee cup, for example. Or maybe that's just me, but if you are a coffee lover, you'll appreciate this. It's a real strategy that worked brilliantly for a client of mine who was a huge coffee fan. He would drink coffee readily at his desk and was less than thrilled about the drinking water idea, but knew hydration was an important habit he wanted to work on. So I suggested he get 2 mugs and fill one with water. He was already going to fill one with coffee, fill the other one with water, and then it was a simple rule. He had to empty them both before he could get another cup of coffee. So the strength of his coffee habit, or his caffeine addiction, tomato, helped him build that hydration habit. And it was very quick to take. Can you think of ways to anchor your current habits? Some of the most common are brushing teeth. That's morning and evening, and it's something that has been ingrained in us since we were little. But there are likely many others you don't think about because, well, they're habits, and their job is to go under the radar. So take a look at your routine and find things that you do consistently every day at the same time or pretty close to it. It could be anything from a morning beverage or commuting or even snack or meal times. What's something that you have on lock? Now you can use that to introduce a new habit and make it so much easier because it's connected to an action that you're already used to. There's that familiarity, and you practically can't help doing. Keep in mind that you can anchor to specific times and places and use your environment to help you. We have talked about this before. For instance, let's use the drinking water habit again. But in this case, you place a water bottle on your desk or by your nightstand as a visual reminder. By linking the habit to a specific context, your environment, a visual reminder, you'll see that water bottle, it becomes a cue to take a drink, and it reinforces the habit of staying hydrated. Now, I like doing this with my sneakers and workout clothes. Having them handy makes it an easier habit to do as well. That's another important aspect. We want habits to be small, simple steps, super easy to do. And then it also reminds me that it's something I want to do. Now, yes, I will run the risk of having those sneakers glare at me all judgy and accusatorily when I don't actually put them on and use them, but it's a price I'm willing to pay for a good habit. Some more examples of habit stacking and anchoring. In your morning routine, after pouring your morning coffee or tea, you could meditate for 5 minutes. Remember that habits need to start super small, so do not discount that 5 minutes of a habit. It's going to make a huge difference because you're going to build. You can even make the process of this morning beverage a practice in mindfulness and meditation, but that's a concept for another episode. During your workday, before checking your email, which you know you're going to do. Write down 3 tasks you want to accomplish that day that will make the day feel like a win to you. This is not just goal setting, but a way to set yourself up psychologically to feel like you have been productive. This is so important to protect your mindset and to keep yourself encouraged. Or you could use the time just before you check that email for setting an intention for the day or even a quick gratitude practice. Again, any of these things, 5 minutes and you're done. In the evening, when you wash your face and brush your teeth at night, check your alarms and appointments for the following day, or at least the following morning, and write down anything on your mind. This is a great technique so you can sleep easier and you're not trying to think of the things that you don't want to forget. You have them in a safe place. This could also be a great time to practice some end of the day gratitude, or maybe even while you're brushing your teeth, say in your mind, because it could get messy otherwise, affirmations to yourself. You're already looking in that mirror. Go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back for a day well done. As we wrap up, I want to share one more advanced concept that Charles Duhigg mentions in his book, The Power of Habit. It's called keystone habits. It's not a specific way to take action, but a concept that's important when you choose habits to work on and consider your specific goals. According to Duhigg, keystone habits are small changes or habits that people introduce into their routines that unintentionally carry over into other aspects of their lives, which lead to the development of other good habits. They're habits that have a disproportionate impact in a really positive way on other areas of your life. Although this can also be negative, but we're talking right now about the positive. I want you to think in those terms so that you can really maximize the positive habits you're creating. There's a concept in productivity I enjoy sharing so much. It's the 80-20 principle. It's a leveraging technique that suggests you can get 80% of your outcome through 20% of your effort. When you see it in life, you can see it in your closet, like 80% of what you wear is probably about 20% of your closet. 80% of the income that you receive is probably from 20% of your clients, and so on. So the same idea, I think, applies to keystone habits. They can play an essential role in your 80-20 of life because they're only a portion of the actions or habits that you're creating, but the results are so much greater. So keep this in mind as you're selecting the habits to work on. It's likely you're already practicing some keystone habits, but didn't realize it. If you exercise regularly, that's an example of a keystone habit. And here's how it can work. Exercise has far-reaching mental and physical benefits. It can help you improve focus and self-esteem and encourage further self-care. You notice that when you are exercising, you want to eat foods that nourish you and energize you even more. It's a wonderful, positive feedback loop. Some other examples include meditation and journaling, and I swear I did not make this up. Working on increased productivity. Yes, that's a keystone habit. Adopting time management strategies, setting priorities, organizing. All of these skills spill over into other aspects of life, helping you make better use of your time and energy everywhere. It's professional and personal. So enhancing productivity has a direct impact on your goal achievement and your satisfaction. Again, both personal and professional. I often work with entrepreneurs who need better time management and organization surrounding their business efforts, and that's why they come to me. But when we dig in and build those habits and systems, their entire lives are impacted. Take one of my mompreneur clients who has to juggle weekly custody arrangements, really technical ones with intense legal ramifications. We've worked on a structure and routine that's allowed her to build a business, work a part-time job, make sure that she is creating schedules that honor those custody arrangements and all the technicalities that go with them, and still have time for regular meals and special outings with her kiddo. There's another mompreneur client who was struggling to get it all done each day, and we implemented some simple organizing habits which allowed her to mentally leave work. That was the problem. You get stuck in that endless loop of still needing to do more and more. And then when you come back again, it feels never ending. There's lack of clarity. It's like, what do I do next? So when we created a way to bookend the day and to start and to finish and create some organizing habits around getting everything set back, what I call back to neutral, and then having that clarity for the next day, this allowed her to be more fully present with her family, yet come back to an organized space, clear on what needed to be done next. I mean, you can tell how much less stress she has when she's able to step away, be in the moment with her family, and then step back and know what needs to be done. One of my dadpreneurs, if you will, I don't usually use that term, but that's kind of the idea. There's a dad who's running a business, noticed in the first week that we worked together that the structure and routine we built, like business hours and mind sweeps, setting goals properly, lessened the stress with his family. And it definitely allowed him to be a more present dad, but he could see the ripple effect that fast. There are so many examples of how habits, especially when we combine the right ones, can change our lives for the better. Would you like to be the next example? Because I would love to help you. We could start with a quick chat, and you can even try out my fastest coaching package called a productivity boost. This quick win session is perfect for talking about a habit that you've wanted to build or maybe struggled with, or maybe a routine you'd like to fine tune to maximize your time and know that you're using it the best way possible. You can find my coaching packages on the coaching page of the website, positivelyproductive.com/coaching. If you'd like to learn more, you can always contact me and send me a direct message. I'd be happy to chat. But if you are ready to try that productivity boost session, go to positivelyproductive.com/PLP boost. PLP like Positively Living Podcast Boost all together. When you go to that link, you can try the productivity boost for a very big listener discount. As you go back to your day-to-day, thanks again for being here with me. And remember that habits are your building blocks of a productive and fulfilling life. What habit will you work on next? Thank you for joining me today. Your time is precious and limited, and I'm honored you chose to spend it with me. If you have feedback, questions, or want to schedule a chat, head to positivelyproductive.com/connect. And if you are looking for any of the resources referenced on the podcast, from books to products to training and more, go to positivelyproductive.com/resources.